everybody. Welcome back to the Just One More Stitch YouTube podcast. I am Tiffany, the maker, creator, doer of everything behind the Just One More Stitch YouTube channel. And today I wanted to share two things with you guys. In our update video, I talked about the fact that I am moving, that I created a spreadsheet for my yarn, and that there are some patterns that I want to work on to work through my de-stash. And I'm sitting on the floor today because I noticed that my lovely IKEA sofa squeaks. So yeah, no squeaking today, we're on the floor. So in today's video, I am going to share the spreadsheet with you guys that I made to track my yarn, and I'll insert some footage somewhere in this video of what it looks like and what it does, and I'll include the information down in the video description if you want to download a copy of it and use it for yourself. Also in today's video, we are going to talk about 12 free patterns for fingering weight yarn for things that we can knit this fall into winter, end of summer season. I hope everyone is doing well. Everything here is fine and fabulous. It was super bright and sunny, but now it's gone all funky and overcast here, which is fine by me because overcast, that's my jam. I am not the sunshine girl. So I'm like, bring on the overcast. So I'm gonna try to get this video recorded before it starts to rain. So my apologies in advance as the lighting keeps changing as the clouds are coming and going. So first up, a couple of weeks ago, I decided that I wanted to update my stash and keep track of how it's going as I'm working my way through getting that stash down before I moved to England. And I figured, I'll just go into Ravelry and use Ravelry's. But there wasn't a way for me to just say, like, here's a Google sheet or here's an Excel spreadsheet. Can I just import everything? It was a very manual and tedious process. Meanwhile, on the other side of that, I figured out that I could just ask ChatGPT to help make me a CSV file, and I could literally sit there with a pile of yarn, rattle off the name, the brand, the colorway, the fiber content, and the yardage, and it would just start dumping it into a CSV file. And then I could just pull that CSV file into a Google Sheet, add some filters, a couple of tables, create a pie chart, because, that's my thing. And I would be able to keep track of my yarn. The only thing I wasn't able to do, which I could do, I'm just not so inclined, was I don't have images of the yarn. But there's even a way that I could do that if I was super adventurous, but it's an addition or a revision that I might make to the sheet later on down the line, but right now that feature is not there. So anyway, the sheet currently tracks fingering weight yarn, commercial fingering weight yarn. I left that out of the last video. DK and Sport, worsted, bulky, and skinny singles, and then there's a summary sheet. This way I can keep track of the different types of yarn that I have, the different colors, so that if I'm knitting something, for example, I noticed that I have hedgehog fibers. I have a skein of yarn that's called Cereal. And in doing the spreadsheet, I learned that I also have a hedgehog fibers skinny single called Cereal. So I've got an extra 20 grams of backup yarn. So it was neat to be able to start to truly see what I had. And there were a couple of other skeins of yarn that worked out that way as well. Oh, and there's a tab for mohair. I forgot. So with that said, I need to work my way through my 42 miles of yarn. And the caveat to that is that only included all of the yarn that was actually labeled, that I knew what it was. I have a whole bin full of skinny singles that I've just kind of collected over the years, and I have no idea what those ones are. So there's a whole bin of those, and then there was still a pretty good sized amount of cakes of yarn that I had gotten from my mom when she de-stashed into my stash, that I have no idea what they are. So I probably have closer to 44 or 45 miles of yarn, but we're just gonna stick to the 42 that we know we have in the sheet. So I need to work my way through that. And so that was kind of how I approached picking the patterns for things that I wanted to knit, because even with knitting the things, I still had to think about what was I going to do with the things after I knit them. Because if I knit them, then does that mean that I'm going to pack them up and I'm going to take them with me? Am I going to donate them to charity? Are they going to become gift items? Whatever the case may be. Or am I going to use them, obviously? So I kind of took that approach when I picked the patterns that I was going to use. So let me scoot over. Jay will stick the specs for each pattern right here for us. So you will be able to see the image and you'll be able to see who designed each pattern and all the things. I have my laptop over here because, as you know from the first video, the brain has been through some things and the memory is not as great as we would like for it to be. So my laptop is here and we have notes. So without further ado, here are the 12 free fingering weight patterns that I want to knit between now and we'll say the end of the year. I'd like to knit them before winter starts and be able to work on some fun, cute winter stuff. Like I really want to work on some winter gnomes this year, but we'll see. I want to work my way through this. All right, first pattern on the list is going to be the basic knitted slippers. And this pattern was written in 2021. A pair of the slippers uses roughly 50 grams of yarn. And this pattern has been knit 61 times. There were 147 different comments in there about it. Nothing really special about the pattern. There is a YouTube video on how to make them, but it's in Arabic and it didn't have the option for closed captions or subtitles. I looked and it wasn't there. So if you speak Arabic, there's a YouTube video out there that will walk you through how to make them. If you're a visual learner, you could probably watch the YouTube video and just shut the sound off. And between that and having the pattern, you might be able to use that to help you. One pair uses roughly 50 grams of yarn. Why did I choose this pattern? I chose it because obviously it's a great stash down project. I traditionally am not a slipper girl. I'm a sock girl all day long. Since I work from home, I'm pretty much always in the house, especially now. And when it's so hot, I can't go out in the heat. So I've always got socks on. But in the wintertime, you know, you want to wear your thicker socks, and so you wear your hand knit socks. But I'm kind of leery of doing that this winter because I have a new cat. And I briefly mentioned that in my last video, but I didn't get to show her to you guys. She's on the bed on the other side of the camera sleeping. I will try to remember to include some pictures of her somewhere in this video and you guys can meet her. Her name is Cinnamon, and I got Cinnamon, I guess, about a year after Shiva passed away. Yeah, I guess it's been a little over a year after Shiva passed away, we got Cinnamon. And I got Cinnamon when she was 8 weeks old, and she just turned a year old. Anyway, with having Cinnamon, she is a calico cat, and she's like 100% calico, and she's one of those ones that's kind of crazy, and she randomly like attacks stuff. And so I'm kind of leery to wear my hand knit socks around Cinnamon. But I figured stash down project for some slippers, I'd be willing to risk it. So that was the second reason that I chose this pattern. I thought that these would be a great substitute. I could wear them over my regular socks, still keep my feet warm, and not endanger my beautiful handmade socks. Side note, I think I want to see if I can find a worsted weight pattern for something similar to these. So if you guys know of a worsted weight pattern that is similar in construction to how these slippers are, please share it in the comments below, because I have some oh shoot, I just forgot the name of the yarn. If I remember what the yarn is, I'll put it up here, but I have some really pretty worsted weight yarn. Madeline Tosh, that's what it is. I have some Madeline Tosh worsted that I want to use to make some slippers. So if you guys can think of a worsted weight pattern that's similar to this one, please share it in the comments. So yeah, that was a side note that I had. I also thought that these would be a great gift idea that you could give away even if you didn't use like hand-dyed fingering weight yarn and you had some commercial fingering weight yarn, like some West Yorkshire spinners or some Regia, you could still make the slippers and give them as a gift, and then you wouldn't have to worry about the whole shrinkage factor. I made a note that says check out Midwest Stitches. So in the projects, you'll see a pair that was made by Midwest Stitches, and I liked hers because the neck is taller for the ribbing, which means I think that they will definitely stay on a lot better. Like you could even wear them to bed at that point. And she said that she talked about a lot of the mods that she made for that project in her YouTube video. So if I can find that YouTube video, I'll include it in the video descriptions down below for you guys so you can watch that video as well. And reason number 4 why I chose this particular pattern is I thought that it was a good free alternative to the Turkish bed slipper pattern, which I have that pattern and I think I've tried to make it twice, but I always get stuck at the cast on. But it's something that I definitely want to try again. Yeah, it's on my wish list. Anyway, pattern number 2 is going to be the Cloudburst fingerless mitts. This was a pattern that was published in 2018, and a pair uses between 153 and 164 yards of yarn. Why did I choose this pattern? Another great stash down project, since that's my goal. I liked that these have a lace detail on them. This is a nice change from just regular knit ones or color work ones. I don't think I've ever made a pair of fingerless mitts that have lace. I have a pair that I started a little over a year ago when the headaches first started, but those ones are the apple spice or apple crumble or something like that mitts, and they are a cable motif, and I recently pulled those out because I want to try to finish those as well. They're not a good yarn to pattern match because the yarn is super soft and the cables aren't popping out as well as I would like, but I think also it's because that yarn is really dark, but we'll talk about that in an upcoming video. Anyway, back to this. I thought that these would be a nice change since they've got lace. I noticed that these have been knit, now it's gone up one. At the time that I looked these up, they had been knit 3,909 times. Now it's up to 3,910. I noticed that the lace design showed up best when I looked at the images of the projects. It showed up best in the lighter colorways. Like it didn't show up as well in navy blue or charcoal, but it showed up really well in vanilla or oatmeal. So just something to think about. I thought that these would also be a great gift idea. And I noticed when I was in Target the other day that everything was like super girly, like the bath headbands that you wear, like when you're doing your facial routine, they were like white or cream and they had teeny tiny little flowers on them. The shirts and the pajama bottoms were all pastel-y pink with, you know, cute sweet little designs on them with tiny little bows. It was like all the adult stuff was super girly and feminine. And so I thought that these would pair well with the current soft girl aesthetic that is going on. So maybe if these were made in a powder pink for somebody, like I think that those would go really well. I know that Alejandria loves pink, and so I'm thinking I might make her a pair of these, especially now that her boyfriend is in Oklahoma. If she goes there to visit him in the wintertime, it's going to be cold, and these would be a good thing for her. Okay, on to pattern number 3. Pattern number 3 is an AirPod cozy. This pattern was written in 2019, and it uses between 20 and 30 yards of yarn. Great for using up skinny singles that we only ever use for cuffs, heels, and toes. This will be a nice alternative for that. Why did I choose this pattern? Because I lose my AirPods all the time in my purse. So if I don't lose them in my purse, they slide right out of my back pocket. If I put the case like in my back pocket and then I sit down, especially in the car, they just slide right back out again. Especially if you don't have deep pockets on your jeans. So I thought that this would be good because I could put the AirPods inside the cozy, and then the fabric will cause friction with my pocket, And if I make them in a brighter color and I chuck them in my purse and I'm trying to dig around in my purse to find them, they'll be a nice bright color and so they'll jump out at me. So I thought that that would be a great idea. I thought that they would be a great gift idea. They're a good stash buster, stocking stuffer, or a white elephant gift idea for work. So I know that a lot of places they do the white elephant or the, what's the other one where everybody can take everybody else's package for Christmas, that sort of thing. So this would be like a good idea for doing the white elephant for work. You could always just whip up some AirPod cozies and then you wouldn't have to spend the money. I also made a note that says an eyelet row might be a good idea. Then you could add an eye cord and then you could possibly put them on a key ring holder. So that might be an idea. And then I made a side note that said, I could see my girls coordinating these with their outfits. One of my daughters is very like, let's coordinate all of the things. And I think that that would actually be really good for her. Okay, pattern number 4 is the Tremblant Toque. And this pattern was written in December of 2018. This one is a fun bonus because it doesn't just come as just the pattern. This one was actually, there's a whole free ebook with a total of 5 patterns in it. The ebook has hat, mittens, scarf, a poncho, and slippers. The hat and the mittens are in fingering weight. The other patterns are all in DK weight, but I mean, you've got a whole smorgasbord of patterns going on for free. So I thought that that was a big win. These patterns have been knit 317 times as of the recording of this video. Why did I choose this particular pattern for this hat? Like I said in my last video, I've knit 3 hipster hats and 1 Oslo, which I didn't enjoy. And I want to change in hat patterns because I still need to knit 9 more hats before the move. And I thought that this would be a great way to use up some of my skinny sock singles, and I can do them in a couple different color variations. I could do like a holiday themed colorway with reds and whites and greens. I can do the fall colorways with some browns and some golds and some oranges or greens or vanillas. I can do a nod to New York and do it in Yankee colors if I wanted to, with the gray, the blue, and whites, for example. Or I could do them in Manchester United colors and do them in a red, a white, and that funky orangey color that they have. But yeah, the possibilities are kind of endless on this one, and it's not an insanely overwhelming amount of color work that is in this one. It looks like it took a lot of work, but when you sit down and you actually look at the pattern, it's not that bad. I can definitely see myself making more than one of these. And I really like the little pop of color that is around the brim, where you use like a contrasting color when you first cast on the hat. I thought that that was a really neat idea and a way to separate the brim and kind of give that extra pop of color. So you could cheat and use a color that, you know, is complementary to your eyes or to your hair color, and just kind of add a little floof to it. All right, pattern number 5 is our first sock pattern, and it is the second sock pattern in here. The first one was the cozy slippers. This is the second one. So these are the cozy autumn socks. This pattern was written in 2018, and I think this is like the 3rd pattern in the group from 2018. So I guess 2018 was a good year for free patterns. These socks use between 300 and 400 yards. They have been knit, it's gone up, 1,625 times, with the most recent pairs being completed in September 2025, at least as of the last time I checked. Why did I choose this particular pattern? Because number 1, it said autumn in the title, and I have a thing for all things autumn. So I was like, yeah, okay, we'll knit those. It's autumn, let's go. Silly reason, I know, but it works in my head. When you look at the lace pattern, it looks really complicated, but it's actually super, super straightforward. They are knit cuff down, which is my sock preference. Side note is this pattern is not a written pattern, it is a charted pattern. So if you are a knitter that doesn't enjoy knitting off of charted patterns, then you may not like this one. But then again, like I said, it's actually a really straightforward pattern. So I would say that this would be good for an intermediate knitter that had maybe never knit a pair of lace socks before. This would be a good trial to start out with, I think, in my opinion. All right, next up on the list, number 6 is the Gluma beanie. And I have actually had this on my list of things that I want to knit for a really long time. The Gluma beanie pattern was written in April of 2020. We're moving up the time chart here. It requires between 220 to 260 yards of yarn. The pattern calls for a light fingering weight. It starts out on a US size 1.5 needle, but you're not on it for very long. I looked at the pattern. I have never actually knit a lace hat. I have done color work. I've done brioche. I've done a hat with some mosaic knitting in it. I have done hats in almost all of the weight classes for yarn except for bulky. But I have never actually knit a lace hat, and I thought that this would be a good one. Looks like it's actually pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and one that I think I could probably knit more than one of. I really like the gold one that's in the initial picture, but I could definitely see myself knitting it in some other colors. I think it would be pretty in black, to be perfectly honest with you. Why did I choose this pattern? Aside from the fact that I've never knit a lace hat, and so it would help me to knock something off my bucket list. It's a slouchy hat, and slouchy hats never go out of style. And I thought that this would be a good transition piece from fall to winter, and then again from winter to spring. So depending on the colors that I chose to make the hat, it would be a very good transition piece for in between seasons. Pattern number 7 is the Shopkeeper's Friend. This pattern was written in March of 2023, and it uses 93 yards. So at this point, we're really sitting down going, oh, we can work our way through some of those mystery skinny singles. I personally work from home. I've said that before. And when the kids are off at school, when it's the summertime and the kids aren't home, I try not to run the AC. I'll let it get to about 80, 81 degrees in the house upstairs before I'll actually turn the AC on. In the wintertime, same thing. If the kids are at school and it's just me in the house because Jay's at the office that day, I won't turn the heat on either, because it's just me. I can grab a blanket, I can grab a sweater, I can grab my hot water bottle. I thought that this one was great because it's for the small hot water bottle. And I looked it up, just so you know, a small hot water bottle is on the pattern, it's called the 0.5 liter, but for US terms, it's actually 320 milliliters. I looked them up on Amazon and they're $10. And I'll include a link below in the description. Not sponsored, just one that I found to save you the searching. Not an affiliate link or anything like that. Just, I found one, I thought I'd share, save you the trouble. If you wanted to make one, I thought that this would be great because it's really small. Like really small. So it would be perfect for if you work from home and you just want to put something in your lap that's going to be like not in your way, or even if you work in the office and it's chilly, because I noticed that since the pandemic, like a lot of places in the wintertime are really cold now. So this would be small enough that you could actually take it to work and put it in your lap or what have you, and still be like kind of warm and toasty. And I also thought that it would be the perfect size to take to a tailgating party. With it being football season, if you made one of these, you could take it with you to the tailgate, especially if you're somebody that like tailgates at the stadiums, for example, and you're there in your chair and you're watching the game or what have you, or you can even like tuck it into the waistband of your pants, and it will help to keep you warm. And it's super small that if you took your kids tailgating, you could use it to even keep them warm. Like if you have small kids, I could see you even just sticking it in the stroller or the pram to help keep the little ones warm. So I thought that this would be a really good idea as something to knit. Why did I choose this pattern? A great gift idea for people who work in the office, or as a white elephant idea. Here's another one that would be a good idea. Or if you have a coworker at the office that she's always cold, there you go. She'd probably love this. It's a great stash down idea. I know that I'm thinking about just making a bunch and giving them to the ladies that I work with. We all work remotely, and all of the ladies, they live in places like Texas, Colorado, the Carolinas, New Jersey, cold places. So I'm thinking about knitting some, and we have the list of everybody's addresses. We get it every Christmas because we do a secret Santa. So I'm thinking about making one for every one of the ladies that I work with and just sending to them just because. It'll get rid of yarn, it'll be a neat gift idea, and they'll be surprised, and it'll be something that they'll actually use. Reason number 3 why I chose this pattern, because it's just practical and it's cute as heck. All right. Next up on the list is pattern number 8, and this is the Vintage Vibes Beret. And this pattern was written in 2020, and it uses between 140 to 150 yards of sock yarn. So if you make a pair of footy socks and you have all that yarn left over after you make a pair of footy socks, you probably have enough to make a matching beret. I made a note that says, it seems like all French things come back around every spring, so why not a beret? I've never made one. I've made a tam, which is not the same thing as a beret. They're wider, not as deep either as a beret is. And tams tend to have like buckets of color work in them. And I've made one in worsted weight yarn. I don't even think I have a picture of it anymore. But since I'm going to be moving to England, and France is right next door to England, while the French don't run around in their berets every single day, I might be inclined to wear one here or there with some jeans and a t-shirt. I think that would be super cute. Anyway, why did I choose this pattern? It's fingering weight yarn, but it's knit on US size 4 needles, which means this is going to be a quick knit, like on and off the needles. It is made from the bottom up, which is great because most beret patterns that I've seen, they start at the top at the tip, and no thank you. Just no. I'm not trying to make anything that starts out with DPNs and 2 stitches. It's not happening. So the fact that this one is worked from the bottom up, I'm totally here for that. I made a note that said that starting things with just 2 needles brings right up there with the tubular cast on and the Turkish cast on in my book, which are equally things that I would really rather not do, which takes you back to the Turkish bed socks. And I do believe that they start with the Turkish cast on, which is why I've started them and frogged them multiple times. It's a struggle bus situation for me, but I'm going to give it another try. Anyway, I thought that this would be another one that's a cute gift idea. If you have somebody that's very much into the French aesthetic, they might really enjoy getting a hand-knit French beret as a holiday gift. And it's another thing that I think I can probably wear in the winter to spring transition. So it's something that I can knit that I can actually take with me. All right, pattern number 9 is the Corner to Corner dishcloth by Purl Soho. And I love that Purl Soho offers so many free patterns. I can't begin to tell you how many free patterns of theirs I've knit and really enjoyed all of them. This particular pattern was written in August of 2022. It uses 134 yards and has been knit 227 times since then. I personally love to knit kitchen things, pot holders, washcloths, and kitchen towels. In fact, in my house, we use the hand knit kitchen towels and kitchen washcloths, and once they've like gone by the wayside and they're not really good for dishes anymore, I give them to my daughter and to Jay, and they can use them for their car. You know, you wash and you dry it, you need to clean the inside, you need to dust, that sort of thing, and then that gets the towel pretty much to the true end of its life cycle. So they're really multi-purpose. I know that I used to use the crocheted ones, but when you wash them and you dry them, or you get them wet and then they become all stretched out, you start out with a washcloth that's this big, but then you get it wet and it's like this big. So I just prefer the knitted ones. So I thought that this would be a great one to try out and make. I thought that it would be a good housewarming gift, and then I made a little note. I have a question. So do people even do housewarming gifts anymore? I know that it's not something that I see. As a mortgage underwriter, it's something that I used to see. Loan officers or real estate agents used to gift people something when they closed on their homes, but I don't really see that happening, at least not in my field. So I don't know if it's something that's done in society anymore. Kind of curious. Let me know. Do you do housewarming gifts? The next reason I chose this pattern: quick, fun, useful. And then I made a side note that said, have you seen the cost of towels in the stores lately? I went to Home Goods, and since I love the fall, I'm normally like, oh, let me get a couple of cute fall towels. But I went to Home Goods with Jay, I guess about 3 weeks ago, and I looked at them, and it was like 2 towels were $12 or $13, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. When did that happen? Just when did that happen? I was like, no, thank you. So if it's not a hand knit towel or one that I already have, it's not coming into my kitchen. Not at those price tags. Okay, pattern number 10. We are almost done. Pattern number 10 is creme. And these are another pair of fingerless mitts. And these ones, the pattern was written in November of 2022. They have been knit 928 times. As of 2 days ago, they'd only been knit 926 times. So there's a pickup in this pattern. They use between 87 and 175 yards. And I chose this pattern because I know that me personally, working from home, I have the one hand that's always on the mouse, and then I have the one that's typing, or I'll have one that's on the mouse and the other one's in my lap. And that hand that's always on the mouse in the wintertime tends to get cold. So I always try to keep a couple of fingerless mitts in my desk drawer. And then if it's too chilly, I'll just put one on. So that's what I use mine for. I chose this pattern because this pattern comes in a range of sizes. It goes from children straight through to adults. So you could do like mommy and me sets, which I thought was really cool. My friend Michelle, she just recently had a baby girl. So I'm thinking about knitting a pair for her and her daughter, and then they can wear them together this winter. Well, maybe not this winter. She might be a little too young. I don't know. We'll see. They'd be really cute on a tiny person. The other reason that I chose this pattern is because when I looked up fingerless mitts patterns for fingering weight yarn and sorted by most popularity, this was in the top 2. So I figured, well, there's got to be something to it. I made a note that says, I'm curious about the gauge though, because they say fingering plus lace equals fingering weight, but fingering plus lace weight yarn does not equal fingering weight. At least not in my book. It normally equals DK or worsted, depending on whether you used fingering or light fingering. So if you do make these, they start out with a size 2.5 needle or 3 millimeter, and then they go up to the US size 4, 3.5 millimeter. So I'd be curious about gauge. That's something that you might want to watch if you choose a particular size. Next on the list is number 11, and this is the Snowfall hot water bottle cozy. This one was not originally on my list. However, between September 1st and today, between September 1st and between September 2nd, this pattern magically showed up in Ravelry on the front page. And so I instantly fell in love. I was like, oh, this is so cute and so sweet, so adorable. It just screams cozy. Hello, winter, start knitting me now and you might have me done by the winter time. So let's see, what can I tell you? I made a note that says finally a 2025 pattern because none of the other ones were from recent times. This one uses between 372 and 383 yards. This one is worked from the bottom up. It started with Judy's Magic Cast On. So if you're not familiar with Judy's Magic Cast On, no better time to learn than the present. If you are familiar with it and you hate it, then this might not be the pattern for you. Let me see. Why did I choose this pattern? Number one, because it was really cute. And I noticed that somebody in the comments actually wrote that this would be cute as a repeat and made like as a runner for a mantle. And I thought that that was a super cute idea. Or even if you did it at both ends and you did like a solid centerpiece for the mantle and then did the cozy little houses like hanging off the ends. I don't know. I thought that would be so cute. This is a great stash down project because you're using what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors. So it's a great way for you to stash down, and the color possibilities are absolutely endless. I like the gray and the red that they used in theirs, but I think that this would be really cute if you did like maybe brown and red, like a brown and brick red for the houses, or if you made them like Nordic colors. I think that could be kind of fun. So there you go. The other reason that I picked this pattern is because a lot of people on the internet right now are talking about how crazy their electric bills are. I know that mine recently went up, which was weird because we use less electricity, but go figure. So I could see hot water bottles coming back into fashion this winter, and everybody knows you cannot use a hot water bottle without a hot water bottle cover, and they come with hot water bottle covers when you buy them on Amazon, but they're cheesy. I've tried them. My last hot water bottle came one and I instantly had to sit down and knit a cover because the cover that came with it was just a really poorly machined knit one that the first time it went through the wash, it fell to pieces. So that's pattern number 11. And pattern number 12 is, well, why not? It's fall. The Mini Skein Pumpkin. This pattern was written in September of 2023. It uses 92 yards and they're pumpkins. They're pumpkins. Who doesn't love to knit a good pumpkin? These pumpkins I thought were really cool because they're knit with fingering weight yarn and it's 92 yards. The fabric is knit and then it's folded in on itself, so it creates like a super thick fabric so you can really stuff the pumpkins with stuffing to get them super fluffy. But that made me start to think that like we could take potpourri and put it in them and then they would be scented. And then suppose we didn't shape them into the shapes of pumpkins, but we left them as little balls, then you could put them in your drawer if you filled them with potpourri, well, stuffing and potpourri. And then you could put them in your drawer and use them as little satchels. I thought that that was a really good idea as well. So that's a great way to multi-purpose use a pattern. So why did I choose the pattern? Number one, I'm a sucker for pumpkins. And number two, you can use up lots of sock minis to make these. Number three, these would be a cute gift idea for a teacher because a teacher can always just put one on their desk. We should all do what we can to show our teachers gratitude, I think, especially nowadays. So this might be a cute something that you might want to, make for one of your kids' teachers. And number four, of course, yet another de-stash project. And that's all of them. Yay, we made it through. So those are the 12 things that I would like to try to knit this fall / this winter and work my way through my de-stash. Some of these things are functional things that I can use in my home now. Others are things that I'm going to be able to take with me when I go back to England, and some are just going to be things that I'm just going to knit and gift to other people. All in all, I'm super excited, especially now that I can, knit and do things repeatedly and not have my arm rebel. Let me know in the comments if any of these patterns are things that you guys would like to knit. And if you guys can think of any other free patterns that are really good, share them in the comments down below so we can all go and take a look. Because who doesn't love a good free pattern, especially for the fall when it starts to get cozy. I think that is it. That is all I have for this video. The next video up is going to be paid for fingering weight patterns. And like I said, I have to pare that list down because it's currently 25 and that's a few. So I have to pare that one down. And I think that's it. I will try to remember to put some footage here so you guys can meet Miss Cinnamon. And otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found a pattern that you would like to try for the upcoming fall season. And I hope everyone is doing well and fabulous and amazing and wonderful. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.